Hi there interweb land, it's Luke from Melbourne in Australia here. This is this is my final assessment video for Introduction to Music Production, a course that I'm doing through Coursera.org. In this video, I will be showing how the Novation V-Station plugin functions, and I'll be making some comparisons to the simple synthesizer that Louden showed us in the tutorials. Here are the two synthesizers side by side, and we can see straight away that they are very, very different. The simple synth uses a lot of presets and has the ability to key in some values. The V-Station is controlled almost entirely by knobs, and there are some faders there that we can also use to change some of the parameters. So let's jump straight into the V-Station and we'll have a bit more of an explore of that. The first thing that I want to draw your attention to is the number of oscillators inside V-Station. Where the simple synth has one oscillator, V-Station has three, and each of those can be controlled independently and mixed with the other two to create a really rich, deep and wide sound. On the left-hand side of each oscillator pane, we can choose the octave that's being played. 0 is the exact key that's being hit on the keyboard. -1 is the octave down. +1 and +2 are the 1 or 2 octaves up. Semi allows us to down or up tune the waveform by semitone increments, up or down 12 semitones. So that's a whole octave. Detune allows you to tune up or tune down the waveform by a maximum of 50 cents, so 1 semitone. By using these two knobs and layering the oscillators on top of each other as they're being played, we can create quite complex and rich sounds, reminiscent of, say, a 12-string guitar or bagpipes or an accordion. To choose a waveform to generate, we've got this column of lights in the middle of the oscillator pane. The top one is sine, then we have triangle, saw, and square. By default, V-Station has it on saw, and this is what that sounds like. Here's a sine wave, a triangle wave, and a square wave. One thing that the simple synth can do in the oscillator that Novation V-Station doesn't do is create noise. And that's because noise fills up the whole of the spectrum. There's no point trying to do these tuning details to it. So it's over here in the mixing pane. So once the signal has left the oscillators into the mixer, it gets layered and then goes into the filter. This filter here is a lot more complicated than the simple synth filter. Unfortunately, V-Station only has a low pass filter. The first thing in this filter that we need to decide on is whether we want a 24 decibel per octave cutoff or a 12 decibel per octave cutoff. From what I've read, 24 dB per octave cutoff is quite normal, it's industry standard. But there are definitely times when we want a shallower gradient to that curve, so we might use the 12 dB cutoff. The frequency knob just controls the frequency. And you'll see here when I scroll over and change the parameters of the frequency, the display shows between 0 and 127. It doesn't give me a frequency that's being set. That's because it's a MIDI synth, and all the MIDI synths are 0 to 127. We've got the resonance. We control the resonance from 0 to 127. We've also got overdrive, which can be musically quite useful. QNorm, Keytrack, ModEnv, and LFO2, I'm still learning about. Once it leaves the filter, in the simple synth, it goes into the amp envelope using the attack, decay, sustain, and release. In the V-Station, it could actually go to any one of these 4 areas first. I'm just going to be covering this amp envelope very quickly now. It's very similar to the one shown in the simple synth. The major difference between this amp envelope and the one in the simple synth is the simple synth had a graphical display of what this would look like, whereas this one obviously doesn't. That's it for this very short video about V-Station. This plugin looks and works pretty much exactly the same regardless of DAW that you're using. It'll work the same in Logic as it does in Ableton, as it does in Pro Tools, as it does in GarageBand. It doesn't work in GarageBand 10. I did get it to work in GarageBand 6 though. I know there's probably stuff I've missed out, so please give me feedback, let me know. I look forward to seeing your assignments in the next couple of days. Thanks very much for watching.